I'm Ardi Samante. I'm from Vallejo, California. 26 currently. I'm full Filipino. I'm very family oriented. I am very faith oriented as well too. That's how I was raised. I'm very people oriented, I guess, as well. People often say that I'm very extroverted and friendly, and I try to be. Beyond music, which is mainly what I've been doing a lot of with my free time lately, I would also say I'm a gym enthusiast, but as you know, gyms are kind of not a thing right now. So right now it's a lot of at-home workouts and such, but full-time, I work at St. Mary's College currently. I'm a success coach. So I work with a lot of undergraduate students, kind of coaching them through their 4 years at St. Mary's academically mainly, but also socially and emotionally, and kind of like identity development type of things is what I do. A lot of my students are like, you're like a coach by day and a DJ by night. I've liked that lately when they say that to me during my meetings with them.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's an honor to be in this space with you after so many years of being connected.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. This room has really shifted a lot, and it's in a good way to everybody that's watching right now. It's so awesome to be here right now and kind of see the growth.
So what got you into DJing?
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, you and I both know, we've been musicians for, I think, over a decade now, which is kind of crazy to think. And I just learned a lot of instruments in middle school and high school. And when I went to college, you know, that stuff kind of got put on the back burner. I would pull out my guitar here and there and do some musical stuff for some college events. But about halfway through college, me and my friends there, you know, we would go to a lot of clubs, we'd go to a lot of events, a lot of concerts, a lot of festivals. And I remember around 2015, 2016, my friends were like, why are you not DJing? Why are you not doing this? And, you know, I thought about it and I was like, that would be so cool. But I think a lot of it is money, right? In college, you don't have a lot of money. But finally, 2 years after I graduated, which was around 2018, I borrowed my friend's equipment for one Christmas break, like just one holiday break. And it just became a passion. And I never looked back since. I think that following month, I already bought my own controller and started messing around with stuff. It's been a great journey the last couple of years.
Getting started, what were the challenges and sort of obstacles that you came across?
Sure. I think getting started, that question is really spot on. I feel like that first 3 month or first 6 month hump of getting into a new hobby or getting into a new practice is the hardest, because you're then start to find out all the work that gets into being good at something, right? I mean, they say it all the time. No, if it was easy to be great, everyone would do it, right? And I think initially I was relying a lot on just my knowledge of music and not necessarily the technical skills that it takes to be a DJ, like learning what each knob does. And regretfully, when I was getting started, I didn't take the time to watch the videos or ask my bud, Andrew Nagaliza, who also DJs, like, you know, what does this do? How do I do that? How do I work with that? And I could have learned a lot quicker if I just had asked for help. And I think that's a great way to do that, because what I'm finding is the DJ community is so helpful and so supportive. There's so many resources out there that are willing to teach you the secrets, because in reality, not a lot of it is a secret. But I think to be more poignant with that question, it really is getting down the technical counts of music and learning how to get there with the equipment that you have. Because even a $250 controller and a $1,500 controller, you still need to know what to do on every level of equipment.
So I noticed on your streams that you have a wide variety of music that you play. Is there a favorite genre that you love to DJ?
Yeah, you know, I think it comes in phases. For sure, when I first started, it was very much trap music, anything in the 75 BPM range to like 80. More or less now lately on my streams, I really find myself in like the 95 to 115 range. Mid-tempo. And in a word, I would just say like Soulection. So if you're familiar with Soulection and kind of like the eclectic R&B funk kind of vibe that they provide, I've been really enjoying that a lot. A lot of that influence does come from my partner, my girlfriend, but also just, I don't know, as I've gotten older, I learned to appreciate music that is still electronic, because that's how I kind of got started, but also incorporates other genres into it. one artist that I would point out that I like to play a lot is just Kate Tronada, right?
Ooh,
Kate Tronada,
yeah.
super vibey, super fun, and really positive, right? And I think that's something that I always try to find as well too.
We got a pandemic going on, and a lot of us are staying home, but it's been really great to see these creators from all over taking advantage of the live stream environment that we got going on. Especially you've really capitalized on that. You've got a Twitch thing going. So how has that been?
It's been super fun, and I think it's very new. If I had to say one word, new for sure. Yeah. And I think that's why it has been so fun to capitalize on, but also just be a part of. I've been saying this for the last couple weeks now. One of a DJ I got connected to, a radio host actually up in Sacramento. His name is Hella Sush. He sent this article really about Twitch and the DJs and the musicians that have just jumped on this platform. We still only make up 1% of the users on the entire platform of Twitch.
Interesting.
So that speaks to two things. One being the video game community is huge, right? But two, we're really just getting started. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of us only hopped on there to do music maybe around March, April, when this all started. And, it really is a community, and it really is new and fun, right? I think I've been able to connect with people that are near, that are far. I think of people like JMKM in Toronto, but then I also think of people like Jugmac, who's also from Vallejo, but does a lot of parties at First Fridays in Oakland. And I would have never known that, if it wasn't for Twitch, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I think a lot of creatives, musicians, producers even are hopping on there and showing their production process. It's just all new and open. And what I've really enjoyed about the community is it's so open. There's so much space. Me and a bunch of our friends on there, we're always saying, hey, if you're not in the chat but you're watching, feel free to come in here and say hi, because there's space for everyone. And whenever someone comes up and says, we want to stream too, but it feels like, there's so many of y'all, but it's like, exactly, there's so many of us that are also going to tune into you when we can too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's such a nice space to be in, especially during a pandemic. There's not a lot of spaces out there, and I feel really privileged and honored to be in that space where people are just so loving and caring and really want to support you at whatever level you're at, whether you're just starting out or you've been, a DJ, a producer for like 10, 15 years. Yeah. There's a lot of people on there where you feel like, wow, I never think I would get to have a conversation with Keys and Crates on their live stream, but I saw Keys and Crates say my name. They said, hey, and they're answering questions, and they're going through their recording process. I mean, one of the first streams I saw of them, and they're huge, was just them making their welcome music to their stream. Wow. So it's kind of like super meta, right? Yeah. But yeah, I would say if anybody that, is thinking about streaming their music or anything really, hop on there. I made a joke. I was like, hashtag YouTube watch out, right? It's like, everybody knows YouTube. Seriously. But as you just said yourself, you could hop on Twitch and someone is going to be on there doing something that you might be interested in doing in. And
it's also a learning experience. And I think it's really, really good for the creative community to really hop on this and to see all the good that's going on and all the space that's being created for more in this. Yeah, absolutely. You've done a lot of events for social justice movements. How has that been?
It's been super awesome. I think when we did hop onto this platform, it just made so much sense. I mean, already built into the platform, there's the widgets to show donations and show tips, and almost instantly, all these DJs and all these producers were like, we're not going to raise money for my rent. We're not going to raise money for something that I need to improve my stream. We're going to raise money for the community, right? It's nice to know that music and people can still come together and still give back to the broader things going on in the world, right? I think right now we're in the midst of Jacob Blake, who just got shot 7 times, right? I just was mentioning Tamir Rice, who passed away many years ago already, and still coming to my mind right now. And those things aren't separate from each other, right? They're not mutually exclusive. They're definitely tied in. That we can't appreciate music and not appreciate the people that make it. And a lot of music comes from Black people, Black history. And beyond that, I think what's awesome is so many of us are taking on other roles besides racial inequalities. A lot of us are trying to get back to education. California right now is coming off of how many fires, off of thunderstorms. Already I see one of my good DJ friends, 143 Tommy, and he already raised like $300 to give back to the wildfires. My good friend from SoCal, DJ Wavy BB, is raising money right now for her birthday for the fires, right? Because I think people forget about environmentalism as well too as being an issue that's going on in our country and in our world as well too.
And I think that's a responsibility that people have when especially you have a platform and then you're putting yourself out there. All of these people of influence who are coming together and really spreading the message and taking a stand against inequality and all of these issues. How important do you think that is for even local creators to get involved?
No, absolutely. I think it's extremely important. I mean, you know, we see it all the time on social media, on Instagram stories. It says, you know, no matter how big your platform is, use it to say something. You have a sphere of influence that you might not even be aware of yet. You know, even if that sphere of influence is just the people that you live in the house with, that's just as important, if not even more important, because you want to be in a space where you feel like you're in agreement about how we can change the world and how we can be positive. And I know it might be the optimist in me to say that and to think that way. At the same time, though, I do think it does start from the heart. And if you don't understand the climate and the context that you're in, how can you expect to give creative music or creative art or whatever your thing is that's going to connect with the people if you don't know what issues are going on? Because I could tell you right now, the issues that are going right now in the Bay Area are going to be very different than what's going on, you know, in Wisconsin right now or New York, right? We have a different character. We're a different community. While we're standing together about the same thing, we do things differently than other people in our country and in our world.
Absolutely,
and that's where we can find our uniqueness through the social movements as well too.
It's going to be a great Labor Day weekend, not necessarily because of America, but because of community and love and you all and family for sure.
Or you want to like go through your gear real quick, or just
Sure. This case is an Odyssey case. It's an all black case. It's a hard shell case, so you could technically bring it on airplane rides and such. It's just really heavy. The model I use is a Pioneer SX3, just a little step above the SX2, and has a little bit more features. I just use a MacBook Pro 2018. I think this is the smallest, like 13-inch version or something, with a lot of dongles. And then instead of a sound interface card, I use a Pro FX sound board, and that's just because before streaming I was doing a lot of private events and such. So I would use this for when I would travel around and set up for events and tear down. For the sake of my family, I don't use my big speakers. I just use a smaller JBL Beats speaker. These are Pioneer. Yeah, Pioneer DJ headphones. Basic model. I don't really remember the model number, but I saw a lot of pro DJs using it, so I was like, cool. And then I invested in a webcam, like HD webcam. It goes up to 1080p, but I stream at 720 because I just want to make sure I don't take up the whole internet. A lot of my streamer friends are really shocked that I'm able to run like videos, different scenes, and all that kind of stuff off of my OBS. So I use OBS, not Streamlabs, just because it takes up a lot of your computer, and I'm doing all of this off of one computer, which is not smart, but at the same time it's been working. So until I have to, this is going to be the setup for quite some time, and I'll do the exact same thing outside. I make sure that I always have the Ethernet in, so like a live Ethernet in, and I don't rely on Wi-Fi. If you rely on Wi-Fi, that's how you're going to drop frames and your video is going to cut out, or you might just like get off stream actually if you just rely on Wi-Fi.
So what makes a good DJ?
Wow. That's such a loaded question. Because, you know, what I'm finding, especially being on this platform and even before, like, there's so many different styles and ways you can go about it. I like 3 because that's like a powerful number, right? So I'm going to try and pick 3 things. I think 1 is song selection. 2, it's just mixing. I'm not even going to say like technical skills. I think if you can mix well. and knowing your music, right? I think they all go hand in hand, but they're all slightly different.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, like song selection, you gotta have a sense of what makes the most sense that comes next, and I could tell you almost all the time, if you're gonna play an E40 song to represent Vallejo, Too Short's probably gonna be a good option for the next one, right?
Yeah.
And then if you want to switch up the mood, there's even ways to do that as well too with song selection. Two, I think, is just basic mixing skills, right? I think a lot of people, when you say mixing, they automatically think of the people that scratch so much and do crazy loops and crazy beat play and key play as well too. But really, a good DJ just knows how to get from one song to the other without someone being like, "What just happened?" Yeah, and them just knowing, "Wow, that flowed really well." I think that's a key point in it as well too. And the last thing is just knowing your music. Yeah. And there's a lot that goes into that, I would say. I think knowing your music not only means like downloading the songs that you love, but it's also, we kind of talked about this a bit earlier before we started recording, the queuing up of the song, knowing when the song shifts, knowing if there's a BPM change. In the song, and knowing the key and which keys go together, and knowing all that kind of stuff really creates a good DJ, a well-rounded DJ, I would say. One that is willing to put in the work, right, and really, like I said, cue them up, know the songs, know when the bridge is happening, know when the chorus is happening. And mixing that into a song that they love as well too, out of their song selection.
Who are good examples of good DJs that have inspired you?
Yeah, there's so many DJs that have inspired me. I'm gonna answer that in two ways. I'm gonna say the producer way, like how they produce, and I'm also gonna say in like the DJ itself kind of way. I think one in the producer side for sure is Medicine. Really creates edits and remixes, and his own music it really does feel like you're on another planet. It's very futuristic, and if you look at his discography, it's very different, ranging from trap music all the way to just really ambient electronic music. I also love Chami a lot. Chami is a house DJ from France, and it's all house music, but if you look at his discography from the beginning to what he's been doing more recently, he knows how to mix up the vibe and the mood. And I also love that he has a very gospel choir aspect to it on some of his music as well too. I think on the DJ side, people that I think of automatically would be Craze and Four Color Zach. These guys are like real technical DJs. Craze just did a set for Hard Summer's backyard barbecue or whatever it's called. All the marketing stuff that gets put into that. And he only had 2,000 views on that video, and I was like, this video needs so much more views because he was able to mix hip hop and trap music and still incorporate turntablism in such a way that I had my jaw to the floor the entire time I was sitting in my desk. It's been pretty great to see.
For someone who's trying to build their brand, to define who they are, maybe learning a craft, or maybe it's DJing, or maybe getting on Twitch, what advice would you have for them? I think that, I gained that perspective and that knowledge from being really reflective of myself. I think that's step one, really taking the time to think, what are my deepest passions, my dreams, and really going from there. And I learned, I had the privilege of getting my graduate degree in leadership, and I learned the value of a mission and a vision, right? So, your mission is what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and the vision is what it's going to look like when you get there. Yeah. Right? If you could understand what you want to carry out, what you want to give back to the community, what you want to give back to your audience, or even your family and your friends, right? That's really your mission. And then really sitting back and thinking, what does it look like when I accomplish that? That's your vision. And that's how you really build your brand. And I think whether that's related to music and DJing, or if it's Twitch and streaming, being that way in those spaces will bring you the most success, whatever success is defined by you, right? Because to me, success, to be honest with you, is not becoming a Twitch partner. That's not a goal that I have. But my goal for me is just being able to give music out and be myself and have a platform to practice. I say it all the time. I'm practicing with you all right now on live stream, right? So it takes some deep insight into looking of like, what does that look like for me? And there's the technical side of it,
the technological side, right? That you got to learn on each platform, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Djing, Serato, Ableton. You get overwhelmed with all the technical side of things, but I tend to say if you know the developmental side, if you know yourself, you know what your vision is, that technical stuff, the homework of DJing, the homework of getting on Twitch, that won't matter. You'll push through it like it was nothing because you love it so much.
So how can we find you online?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, like I said, it's been the same.
That's also, is that a loaded question also?
No, it's not a loaded question, but it's been the same since 7th grade. PartyArdi, PartyArdi. Just type that into Google. I think all my stuff will pop up. There's little variations here and there. I think on Twitch, it's party_ardi because without the underscore, it was taken. I don't know by who. And then I do have a website that I would love to people to check out. I want to do events for people, private, birthdays, weddings, whatever, clubs, all that kind of stuff. My website is party-ardi.com.
Well, thanks again for being on the show.
Of course.
Make sure you check out Ardi on his social networks and on his website. But until next time or until your next stream, we'll see you later. Everyone take care and stay safe.
Thanks, everybody.